There, everybody, is a hyena at Sydney's dam, and we can't get any closer. That's why the picture's just, well, I mean, look, it's not the best hyena view we've ever had, but it's drinking here, and interestingly, it must be one of our hyenas, one of our Djuma clan of hyenas that don't live at Djuma anymore. And at this distance, almost impossible to get an identification on it, but we are seeing them more and more, and I wonder if this isn't the beginnings of their long migration south back into Djuma, where hopefully they will set up shop. And I know that many of you are missing our hyenas as much as we are. And for some of you, for our newer viewers, you won't even know what we're talking about. But we seem to spend hours and hours of enormously entertaining time at the hyena dens, the various ones dotted about Djuma, watching the little cubs. Yes, M. Rouse, I have to agree with you. It does look like a very skinny hyena. I'm not sure why it should be skinny. Perhaps it hasn't been very good at scavenging lately. But we reckon that these hyenas are possibly spending more time hunting than normal. They like to eat baby impala, and sometimes they can catch the herd sort of unawares and chase the little ones, and sometimes they will catch them and actually eat them. They're not normally fast enough, and if you look over to the right-hand side there, you can see a herd of impala. I think it's largely a bachelor herd coming down to drink. I mean, they'll know that hyena's there. He's not making any attempt to hide. But those impala, as adult males and young males, not vaguely afraid of one hyena. But of a group of them coursing after some youngsters, well, then it's possible that they'd catch them. But I have to agree, that one looks a little worse for wear. Yeah, and Deborah Gregory, I would absolutely agree with you. You say you think this hyena has been beat up and is limping. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, I'd like to try and see him move. It almost looks like his leg is hanging loose. Is that possible? No, he's got all four legs there. But he is very, very, very ginger. And I don't mean that in the way that Kirsten McLennan Smith is ginger. I mean he's walking very gingerly. Yeah, Deborah Gregory, you're absolutely right. There's definitely something a little bit amiss there. Possibly other hyenas who've beaten him up. Quite possibly the Nkahuma Pride up here. I think rather the other way around, Lavencia. You say, will the return of the hyenas, if they return here, affect the behavior of the Nkahuma Pride? No, I don't think so, but I think it was the Nkahuma Pride's behavior that drove these hyenas out of Djuma. They are not a big clan. I mean, the clan that lives on Elephant Plains and Simbambili and Arathusa is much larger than the clan here. It's about 50 strong. This one, I think, probably at its maximum was about 18 or 20 adults strong. And what happened was they set up a den not far from where I'm sitting now, but in a direct line between here and the final control on Aubrey's Road. But it was on a game path, and the lions kept walking past there. And as they kept walking past, so eventually the hyenas decided that perhaps the lion activity was a bit too extensive in the area, and so they moved off. And they've gone up north into the Manyeleti, which is pretty much on the same line between us, the hyena. If you just kept going on that line and turned slightly to the left, you'd find their den somewhere up there. And there seems to be less lion activity there. And you'll find, Lavencia, that most predators out here, bar perhaps the leopard, most of their territory sizes and where they live in their territories are defined by where the lions are. Cheetah, you could almost predict entirely their movements from the movement of lions and where the lions are calling. Hyenas, well, I've just explained that to you. Leopards, to a certain extent, will spend time in the areas of their territory where they think the lions are not. And what's the other major predator, of course, are wild dogs. And one of the hugest killers of young wild dog pups are lions. So everything else out here avoids the lions. They are by far and away the dominant predator out here. Unless, of course, they come to a kill and there is a very, very big clan of hyenas. Now, White Lady Aylwin, you're wondering about white muscle disease and whether it can affect hyenas. It can apparently affect all mammals. So it's caused by a lack of vitamin E and selenium. I think the vitamin E is required to transport selenium around the body, hugely important for immune functioning, and that in turn is a function of the amount of fat that there is in the body, and so all mammals can suffer from it apparently. But I suspect that the hyenas were eating a far more varied diet than the lions were at the end of the drought. Remember, at the drought, the lions were just coming across buffalo who were sort of standing in front of them. They'd kill the buffalo and eat them. They didn't have to go and look for anything else. The hyenas were probably scavenging on quite a lot of other kinds of food, and so perhaps got a bit more fat, vitamin E, and selenium in their diets. And then over here, the impala, for example, they too could get white muscle disease, I think. But because they were eating grass and leaves, perhaps those particular trace elements, I'd no doubt that they did suffer various other effects of the drought, but perhaps the selenium and vitamin E problem did not occur to them because those two, well, one's a vitamin and one is a mineral, lives in the food that they eat, I would imagine. But as far as I understand it,